Good afternoon. I'm Saraswati Shankaran, a sociologist from Bombay University. Positivity is a superpower. I think Dr. Habir Arora told me that she brought this out. And I'm giving my own life as a standing example. And I'm taking it chronologically. The inner circle is the negative aspect. How do you change it to positive? And for that, you have to unleash the Shakti inside. And Shakti unleashed, you can do anything. You can change from negative to positive. And that's what I have done so that I remain safe with sanity. Some professor told me, under your circumstances, either I would have become insane or committed suicide. I said, no. Looking at me, somebody else may commit. But I have to remain stable. So, if you turn the age of 18, that's me, 81. And my life, all these negative challenges, started in 1970. I had major spinal operation. I think the doctor loved me so much that after that they said, we make another operation. I said, no way. Just give me a certificate that I can do some work. So I became a welfare counselor in Mahindra based on my postdoctoral diploma. No, sorry, postgraduate diploma in social science. So I love doing that. And they love my work also. But as luck would have it, 1976, I had an attack of scleroderma. Most of the people, even the doctors, would not have heard about scleroderma. Scleroderma is a jelly formation in the subcutaneous tissues, in the muscle layer and the skin layer. So I become stiff like this. Like an elephant, I would turn my head. And some doctors in Bombay, they said, I think it is this, but I went to Chennai to consult the Dean of Madras Medical, and he diagnosed it in 1976, and scleroderma. He put me on steroids and physiotherapy, whatever. I didn't buckle down. With that, I registered for a PhD and got my PhD from Bombay University. In fact, the best thing to make a negative into positive, I find in my own experience, add some humor to your life. I told everybody, you know, I am stiff above my hip. Ahalya was cursed by her husband, become a stone. People said that I had become stone up above. I was like stone, stiff. And below, normal. I said, I think my husband cursed me because he would have lost his faith in my fidelity. And because he is not Brahminic at all, he does everything non-Brahminic. So his curse was only above the hip, not below the hip. And another thing is, I don't mind even though some man is here, it becomes stone means flat. My breast had become flat. I was never like Esther Williams, but still not bad. One doctor, very, very senior, in fact he has consulted some ministers also in Delhi. He had come on a visit to Chennai. He heard about my case and he said, I would like to see her. So I said, I don't mind. Let me be a research case. And then I said, doctor, what is happening? I mean, according to the theory of physics, matter cannot disappear. If it disappears here, it will be appearing somewhere else. So where are my breasts? It's gone, flat. He was hard of hearing, so he wanted me to repeat the same thing. So then, and then I said, what's happening? I said, come to the back. He said, no, it does not come to the back. Am I becoming a transgender? Because I had just started. He said, no, you have not. So I said, thank God. So, okay, let me see. And then the steroids helped me. The PhD also helped because the positive approach helped my negative challenges. Then I had, after my doctorate from Bombay University, I had my application was accepted by NIH. That was my dream, to do my postdoctoral on primary prevention program development for young people. And I was all set, but my husband was the Director General of a cable company in Tanzania. So I just thought he should not forget me. So I went to Africa, deferred my postdoctoral program. But there, it changed my path. I saw the worst of AIDS scenario because our bungalow, our apartment on the beach, right in front of Muhimbili Hospital. I don't know, for Tanzania, you know, the Muhimbili Hospital is like general hospital. And suddenly I saw a queue of men and women standing there in front of the hospital, waiting for their turn. Then I came to know it's because of HIV/AIDS. So I went to the hospital, and immediately they said, oh, you're a sociologist, and my work was on lifestyle analysis. They said, please come. I said, I don't know Swahili. I said, no, you know the case, come, join. So I was honorary sociologist in Muhimbili Hospital, an unknown language, and I was there. I saw, I said, here it is because of ignorance. What happens in India? So I just dropped my focus, changed my focus from academics in US to action in India. Because I know that actions speak louder than academics. And I have not turned back. So this 84-85 witnessing AIDS in Tanzania changed. So then started work on that. Trigeminal neuralgia ailment attacked me in 86. That I did not work it down. It's very, very painful. Still, I was on some medication. The doctors were good. And then that was the time I had one of the best projects that I enjoyed. Interviewed Paramacharya. How many of you have heard of Paramacharya? Shankaracharya, senior most, and highly respected, and some believe, the best doctors believe that he was divine. And the ophthalmologist said, you're a sociologist, can you go and interview him? Not interview, at least just get his blessings, because he wanted to start a department on eye donation. And we were not getting enough eyes donated, even though Sri Lanka was sending eyes to 64 other countries. India, you have so many, there is a need also. So he said, why don't you do that? But then he told me, you should not talk about death, because that is Paramacharya. I said, then why are you wasting your hospital money on me, on my ticket? He said, no, don't talk, just go. I interviewed Paramacharya, and that is, besides this topic, one of my best experience. And I got what he wanted, that's the best. I got the unsaid consent from him. So for eye donation, that's when Shankaracharya started the department. Then 91, AIDS in India. So what did we do? Founded Desh, that's a society. That we founded it, and it's 27 years old. We are a mother NGO. I always say, looking at me, you think it's a grandmother NGO. And we have had the support of Government of India, state governments, and international organizations like Bill Gates Foundation, and then Tata Trust and the other domestic partners. So that's still 91. But then when we went to the youth aspect, we found public ignorance of AIDS, 92. So again, Shakti unleashed. So what did we do? UNICEF, as a pioneer, they took me as a consultant. And what we were able to do, AIDS profile in Tamil Nadu for the first time, then AIDS resource directory, knowledge, attitude, practices with research to science, that was all brought out. And followed. Next. Okay. Now again you can see it chronologically. I have only 4 slides. So, adolescence ignorant of life risk. So 98 to 96 to 98, Shakti Unleashed. So our school-age education program with UNICEF in 404 schools, Sebemo, Netherlands in 800 schools, and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation USA in 260 schools and 53 slums, slum youth in 6 cities, almost pan-India. Then next is, working like this, I met with a road accident. So, hip surgery and then walking stick. I tell everybody, Shiva has 3 eyes, I have 3 legs. Right? So, but then again, with that, I did the social aspect of AIDS conference and the action plan, industrial seminar, interactive voice response system, pioneer again, and inaugurated by then Union Finance Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. It was a big hit. Then 96 to 2004, when we went to the slums supported by Tata Trust, we found the women weak and abused, and they were ignorant also. So as a mother NGO for RCH by Government of India, we did research on empowerment of women and presented it at Harvard and at Emory Nolan School of Public Health, USA. Again, it was appreciated. In fact, the director of Nolan School of Public Health asked me, how did you manage to get Bill Gates Foundation involved? What kind of proposal did you submit? 5 pages. What? 5 pages and you got $1 million for the 6 cities program? We have been sending page after page. And where did you learn the design from? Ma'am, under you. So use that design. So that was the positive aspect. Then the tragedy started. In 2009, my second son, a famous ornithologist even till today, 10 years after his demise, he is known as the Florican man of India. That was his research. He had a sudden fatal heart attack. And that even before he could reach the hospital, there's no more. And many doctors who came and tried to pay the condolences, they said, oh, tobacco, it is because of tobacco. And they all told me, independent of each other, that at their clinic, they get youth with fatal heart attack, 9 out of 10 because of tobacco. I said, what do you do about it? They said, what can we do? The government's role, the tobacco manufacturers. I said, at least you can make some noise. Because that doesn't give them money, no? Sorry to say this. So I was disappointed. The youth at the doorsteps, that happened. So we took that as one of our major agenda. What happened was, I said, if this is their report, I was going to Yale University and also Adelaide. I had to present some primary source data. So what do we do? So did a small study. We didn't have that money. So I said, can you go to the hospital and get the names of those people, addresses, who have this kind of fatal heart attack? Then one counselor told me, ma'am, how? They will not be even reaching the hospital. That's what happened to my second son. I said, yes, you are right. So then what do we do? Go to the corporation register. So I went to the health secretary and I explained to him. He didn't ask me a single question. He gave me a certificate to go to the corporation register and get the list. So then we decided that we cannot get 10 years, just 1 year prior to my departure for my presentation. We did a study, and that in and around our address area, office address, so that we didn't have to spend money. 25 cases in 1 year, fatal heart attack, from the age of 15 to 45. And out of that 25, because we got the addresses from the register, out of the 25, One was 65 years old, so not our sample. 2 were girls. Of course, girls should be included, but in that study. So that was also excluded. So out of 22, how many do you think would have been on tobacco? Please, one at least guess. Almost right. 21 out of 22 were smokers. So that's what I presented at university. So our prevention of tobacco program, youth abuse, through what I'm very, very proud of is mental vaccination, thinking tool. And that is the mental arsenal that even the trustees of our donors talk about. That's the mental arsenal you have to give the youth. That's what we are still doing. So mental vaccination, thinking tool for life skills, that's a major, that's our flagship methodology. Then, this happened in 2009. 2010, my nocturnal and lovely grandchild, she was 6 at that point of time, at Rishi Valley. From Coimbatore, they were going by train, got down at Kadapa station, took a taxi, known taxi from the school. They were going to the school. On the way, heavy vehicle came and the driver was intoxicated. He hit this taxi on the spot. This is how they died, on the spot. The daughter and the child and the driver. And the heavy vehicle driver ran away. That's a hit and run case. The next morning, after lunch, he went and reported to the police, and he said it's because of the mistake of the taxi driver, was no more. I think he would have got away with it. But then we came to know that NIMANS, the famous research institute in Bangalore, came out with these studies that most of the fatal accidents on the road is because of drunken driving. So that has become another major agenda for our program. So that is the positive aspect of the negative tragedy that I faced. 2010. Now, 2016, I had a total hip replacement. I was in the hospital when, without batting an eyelid, I signed the contract with Tata Trust. And I told them that this is, they said, no, go ahead. So, Health Action Program for Progress of Youth to prevent substance abuse. So it was linked to many other components. So this was supported by them. And that's when our other concepts also came. Now, so positivity is a superpower. We are not asking for the superpower, it comes. And these are the awards and achievements. 2003, we got the state award for the best work in HIV/AIDS. We presented the dance ballet. You can imagine that I would have got this hip replacement because of the dance. No, we had professional dancers to do that. We had taken about 20 or 20, more than that, children from the slum to present AIDS, youth and women. And Mr. Bill Gates was there, the Union Finance Minister was there. They loved it. Mr. Bill Gates was so impressed. He shook hands with every child, every youth. And when they went back by train, they didn't wash their hands. And they said, this is the hand that Mr. Bill Gates touched. So we'll become more prosperous. So that was in, in 2003. 2004, we got Nehru Yuva Kendra Award, Rajiv Gandhi Award. Then 2005-06, became the member of National AIDS Council and Certificate of Honor by Government Hospital. 2009-14, Peak Achievers Award and All Grassroots Women of the Decade Award. Then Polestar, time up, that's last slide. Polestar Award and Scott Challenger Award. All these are the achievements. Now this is my last slide, Voice of a Victim. I, as a grandmother, joyfully witnessed the birth of my grandchild and also watched her grow up into a lovely child reciting poems and dancing with happiness. While preparing to celebrate her 5th birthday, shockingly and tragically, I had to witness the death of the child's father, my second son, a healthy man of 45 years who suffered a sudden and fatal heart attack due to smoking tobacco, as confirmed by the doctors. The child, who adored her father, held my hand and in a heart-rending way said, "Today is my birthday and my father's death day." Even more tragically, just a year later, I had to witness the death of this grandchild and also her mother, who were both killed in a hit-and-run road accident caused by a heavy vehicle driver in a drunken state. Ladies and gentlemen, stop such untimely young deaths. Say no to tobacco, alcohol, and drugs. My last concluding sentence. If you do not work towards a solution, you become part of the problem. This Shakti is in every one of us. Unleash the Shakti and stop such evils in the society. It cannot spread. And youth should not be so vulnerable, they should be guided. Thank you. My third leg, please. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, everyone. My hats off to you, ma'am, really. I'm Kavita Gupta, co-founder of Win Over Cancer. And before starting the session on positivity is a superpower, I'll ask some of you, what is the positivity? Can someone answer? What is positivity?
A way of thinking and being
Okay.
in a happy, more enlightened space.
Okay. Anyone else?
The way you see the world, so like looking at the glass either half full or half empty. So you're looking at it half full.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that whatever happens, there is some good behind it. So till that certain point of time, we are thinking that we are going through this misery or something like that, and something wrong is happening with us. But ultimately, it leads to something good in our coming life. And if we think like this, so I think we can just focus on more of the positivity.
Yeah.
Every act.
Yeah, so this is positivity. Okay, positivity is the acceptance of the situation. Whatever happening in our life is the best for this moment. Not positivity is not that whatever you are thinking will happen. Always like affirm that I will get a big house or I will get a big salary package, and then it doesn't happen, and then. So positivity is the acceptance, and when you accept a certain situation, it gives you strength and courage to withstand with it, and it motivates you to become more powerful. I'll just share my life experience with you to explain this. My husband was diagnosed with cancer in 2011, and at that time my 2 daughters were very young and I was a simple housewife, and it was a very major setback for us to. Then the things get in the same manner, some testings and all, and then it came out that his cancer was very slow growing and he didn't need any kind of treatment at that time. So the time passed on and it came to be 2015 when the doctors told him that now your cancer is getting deteriorated, your hemoglobin and platelets are getting down, and in a few months you might be asked to get chemotherapies and all. And that was the time when I was so afraid, because like any other common person, I was so afraid of this word chemotherapy. And so I never knew what to do. I was in the vulnerable stage, crying and all, praying everywhere, God, please make him well without chemotherapy, maybe some Ayurvedic treatment, maybe some kind of homeopathic treatment can make him well. As it was going, for the past 4 years, everything was going well. And to another shock, it came that he lost his job because of cancer. he was the CFO of a big firm, and when he told his employers that now you have, that he has to go for a long-term, for long-term treatment, so his employers, they just showed him the pink slip that it's better you sit at home and get your health better. So this here, it's his mantra that never give up, it's a crime. He was a CA and he started his own practice. He knew that I am only 2-3 months before the treatment, but still he started his own practice. His treatment started in January 2016. And after his first chemo, another shock came to us, which was the major one, that he has got a rare kind of transformation, which is called Richter's transformation, in which now he has to fight with 2 cancers. One was his pre-existing leukemia, which was slow growing, but the other was a lymphoma, which was a very aggressive one. His chances of treatment were only 30%, chances of survival were only 10%. And the expense grew up 3 times more. This was the time when doctors asked us to just go back home and decide what you want to go ahead for such kind of statistics or not. And that night, whole night, we both didn't sleep, and he just told me, think over it. You might lose me and the money left also. So I think that was the time when I realized that now I am the one who has to take the decisions. I realized certain strength in myself. I accepted that situation. So this is the situation. I can't change it now. Nothing can change it now. I have to accept it. And that acceptance gave me so much of strength. And the next day when we went to the doctor, he again repeated those things. And my husband just told him, sir, this kind of transformation comes in only 0.5%. If I am so lucky that I can be in that 0.5%, then why can't I be in that 10% those who survive? And this thing really changed us. So doctor told us that, Mr. and Mrs. Gupta, before starting the treatment, I must tell you that next 6 months are going to be the hell of your life. The treatment is not going to be easy. And I just smiled back because I didn't have any option rather than to go for the treatment. And we went for that. And that was the time when we started this NGO Win Over Cancer. The time we instead of just focusing on our problems, we started identifying the problems other cancer patients are facing. At that time, I came aware of the problem of breast cancer patients. One day, my husband's doctor, he told me, ma'am, you are running an NGO, so why don't you donate some prosthetic bras to the breast cancer patient? I said, so what are these prosthetic bras? I never knew about all this. So he told me, ma'am, it's a bra with some artificial breast which can complete a lady. So I went to the market. I got 2 options. One was the silicone one, which was costing from 8,000 to 15,000, and I think nobody was ready to donate that. So, and the other one was cheaper option, which was made of foam. I bought them and I just showed to the doctor, and he just yelled, ma'am, it's a garbage. Don't ever think of using it. Because what happened? This is the only cheaper option which other NGOs are also donating. So I bought them. And then he told me that, ma'am, these foam one, they give us rashes, then bacteria formation, then the climate of India is so hot and humid, it absorbs all the sweat and all. And the patients, those who are using this foam one, they are coming to us with more allergies and things. So I was blank and I just told him, so then what is the solution? And he just commented me, ma'am, you are sitting all the time idle over here in the hospital, so why don't you think of something? And that sentence really struck me. It really struck me. But if this is the problem, then there must be some solution, and there has to be some solution. So I worked on, I had a knowledge of fabrics and all because I had a tremendous failed boutique business in the past. So I started working with fabrics. All the time when we were back in the hospital, I had a prototype in my hand. I used to show it to the doctor's team and then get the feedback, and again come home back and improving the product. And so after 6 months, I was able to make the final product, which was approved by many oncologists and doctors at AIMS. And at that time, I decided to donate it for free for the underprivileged. So in that situation, I think it was like channelizing our both energy from negative to positive. My husband, he lost his job because of cancer. In all that time of treatment, he utilized his time on working on a financial rehabilitation program for the cancer patients. And now he is running the largest skill development program for the cancer impacted families in India. So this is something today also. In 2017 he got a relapse. At that time also, instead of getting, we were laughing, okay, 2016 also it happened, so 2017 will also pass like this. And it really, today he is considered as a miracle. Even the doctors came from US and they saw his case and they were like, he is only a few of patient of Richter's transformation, those who are alive in the world, and his case is today considered as a medical miracle. So this was all the positivity that surrounded us. It is like being positive is not that you will never think of a negative thought. Negative thoughts will come to your mind, they are natural. But it's like just remove them from your mind, say cut, delete, at the very moment they appear. Because that is the time when they are most weakened. That is the time, as she said, to see the glass is full, not half empty. So this is my life story. I could have shared if someone could get inspired of. Thank you so much.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us here today, where positivity is definitely a superpower. My name is Jenny Ottaway, and I am from Sydney, Australia. I've got some beautiful support here in the room, and I am a speaker. I am an author. I have written a ebook about relationships. I am a cheerleader and supporter of women, hence my business is the Foundation of You, so I'm CEO and founder, where I support other women in their challenges with relationships or health. But I'm also a mother of two beautiful teenage girls who light up my life and, who inspire me to be more positive in my life every day. And I've also been, I guess all of my life, I have always looked to the brighter side because I don't find a lot of joy or happiness, in negative feelings, obviously. And from the moment I think, I was born, and I'm the youngest of 6 kids. I think my mom, the way that she treated me, and she was always very generous in being positive herself. We looked at everything with wonder and with just that sense of appreciation, which I think is what, we were saying, some of our speakers have said, positivity comes from that appreciation, from being grateful for what we have. And, if I look back on a lot of my jobs that I have had, they've always reflected, a need for a positive attitude. My background is in sales. I've done a lot of management where I've had to lead other people. And I think that the reason why I have been a good fit for those types of roles is because those are areas where, I've had to feel more, and I've had to be more positive, because as a leader of people, you've got to bring your best self so that others can feel inspired and also rise to that. But as I was thinking about what I would talk about for, positivity and what does that actually mean for me, why do some people handle life's challenges better than others? There's just something there, there's a lot of, we've talked about it in other sessions, that there is a lot of negativity in the world, and there's a lot of pain and hurt. And yes, we can focus on that, but I really think that the goodness comes in focusing on what is good in our lives. And by, sharing that with others and looking to others for, surrounding ourselves with people who also have that same set of beliefs, I think that again takes us to that next level of being more positive. And I was also thinking about, it's a choice to be positive. It's a choice that you can walk around and you can have a smile on your face. You can walk around and talk to other people. You can engage and connect with people so that, we're all feeling that vibration of connectedness. And, negativity, I think, is also important in that there are peaks and troughs in life. And, certainly from my own experience, when I was little, we moved around a lot. My father had a corporate job, and so I went to 7 different schools. Now, some people might go, well, I went to 12, right? There's always somebody who sees it, has their own situation that might be worse, but then there's always somebody that went to school in the same city, the same town, and lived in the same house. So, we're all at different, different parts of the spectrum. But for me, that was really important and really pivotal in how I developed. Every time I went to a new school, I had to make new friends. I had to see who were the people that I could click with or gel with. And it shaped who I was. But I always looked at it as an opportunity. Because for me, it was an opportunity to reinvent myself, perhaps, if I maybe didn't feel that I was, being the kind of person that I wanted to at my previous school. But it also gave me an opportunity to hang with people that might be slightly different to what I was used to at my other schools. And ultimately, that level of change, you could see change as negative, or you could see change as positive. And I chose to see it as positive because of the opportunities that it gave me and the possibilities. And I think the other thing that, by having to adapt to that was probably a sense of resilience. Positive people have a huge ability for resilience because we look at challenges, or I look at challenges when I have them, and I don't necessarily, I get upset, but I think it's in that resilience and the ability to look past and look at what's possible beyond that negative experience. And the resilience is that ability to bounce back or to bounce forward, as I like to say. And so then there's there is that, that attitude of resilience that is certainly prevalent with a lot of people who have a positive outlook. And then I think what we were saying before is that negativity is definitely transient, and for us to be able to see ourselves in a positive way, I think, in my experience, I've always had that mindset, and I've always been able to bring myself out of whatever it is that I'm going through. But recently, so I've been through a huge transition in my life. I was recently divorced after 27 years of marriage, which is a long time. You could say I got married very early in my life. And I've never, I've always sort of looked to the positive in life, and I guess for the first time, I thought that, I had failed, and I couldn't actually get out of that negativity. And, I went to a really dark place where, I thought that I had failed. I felt that, everybody else's life was better than mine. And I never, I've never felt that way as much as I have in the last, probably last 18 months. So, I guess at some point though, after allowing myself to, cry and to experience those feelings of, what is negativity? It can be anger, it can be being upset. Negativity is whatever emotion we feel that isn't positive. We've got two sides of the scale that, maybe we want to change about ourselves. So for me, I felt, that I wasn't really sure what was next for me, which was unusual because I've always looked at life going, I'm here, I'm always going to be here because I know that there's so much possibility, and I just wasn't feeling it. And, ultimately, we have to look to ourselves to find that strength and to find the courage to, to choose to be positive, to choose to be, in that space where life is good, and, everybody around us is going through exactly the same things that we're going through, just at different degrees. And I think what pulled me out of that negativity, or to, I just, for a start, it was my friends, my family, and, also my girls. My two girls gave me the strength to find in myself who I was again. And, it's still an ongoing journey. So when I chose the topic positivity as a superpower, I absolutely believe that. We wrap ourselves, it is like, I think of it as a superpower cape. We wrap ourselves in positivity, but it's okay to honor the other feelings and emotions that we have. But know that with possibility, with opportunity, and with, all of that, the ability to see a brighter side of, the silver lining, that is where your superpower lies. And I think that, it's been a really valuable lesson for me to know that that is always going to be a part of who I am. So I thank you for listening.